on your MacBook to edit apart or split your longer videos into shorter segments. So say you were doing a video that you did a read aloud of a book, and or you did a lesson and it ends up being too long. Either maybe you want to break it up into 6-minute chunks to post on Seesaw, or you want to put it on YouTube but it's longer than that 15 minutes. Though we recommend that we try to keep everything shorter than those times. Obviously sometimes things happen, or there are lessons that we just can't fit in a short period of time. So you can use iMovie, which you all have access to split your video into smaller chunks, which you can then upload onto YouTube or put onto Seesaw. Another option, as always, is to just upload it to your Google Drive and then share that link. Your students can watch videos that way. But if you did want to make shorter videos, what you would do is make sure you have your video saved to your computer. So if you did something like a Screencastify, you just want to make sure that you export that video. And usually you can do that as an MP4 or a WebM recording, and you can use that in iMovie MP. And then you're going to want to open up iMovie. If you don't have it in your dock, so it's this little guy with a star around it, then you can always open up Finder. It's your little smiley face guy. Go to Applications and just look for iMovie in your Applications folder. So you can see mine's right there. I already have it open though. So once you have iMovie open, you're going to always be taken to this Media Projects page. So when you get here, you're going to want to click on Create New. And you want to create a new movie. And you're going to have all these things are going on. So basically, the first thing you're going to want to make sure you do is import your media. So you kind of have access to your photo album and things like that here, but I've found that a lot of times it doesn't pick up my things that are not done through iPhoto. It does not pick up. So I actually have to manually import it, and it's not hard. All you do is you click the Import Media, little down arrow. And then this is the fun part. You have to kind of navigate and find where it is. So I recommend making sure you have your video file somewhere that's easy for you to find. I'm going to be splitting apart a Zoom webinar that we did. So I'm going to pull up Zoom. And it's going to be our direct instruction one that we did. So double click that. And then you can see right here is my video right here, my webinar. And you can see that's an MPEG-4 movie, so an MP4. Like I said, that's usually the format that you're going to want to use. Once you have your file found, you're going to click Import Selected, and it's going to show up right here. So this is not your movie up here. These are just basically any media that you want to use in your video. And so you can bring in as much media as you want. If you ever need to import more media, you just go to File and you can see Import Media there. So you can bring in multiple. What's nice too is if you have multiple clips from different things, you could bring those all together and put those into one movie as well in QuickTime. So once you have whatever media you want to start with, you're going to click and you just drag it down to your little timeline down here. So just, this is an hour's worth of footage, and you can see it's really small. It's hard to kind of tell what's what. So what I recommend doing is here is your little zoomy button. The farther to the right you go, the more zoomed in you get, where you see the timeline of your film. So you can see as I zoom in, my film stretches longer. So it's still the same amount of time. I'm just zooming in so I can get down to a little more details. And then what you're going to want to do is kind of figure out where you want to split. If your project has natural splits, maybe you're switching between concepts or topics, you're going to want to find where those are. If it doesn't really have that, then you maybe just have a time that you want to stop at. So maybe you want to stop at that 6-minute mark. So you would just kind of click until you find where 6 minutes would be, and then you can split it there. What I recommend doing is, if you're going to be doing multiple splits, is so you can see I just found 6 minutes, is putting a marker there. So don't do any splitting or anything until you're set and you're happy, but you can put a marker anywhere you want to remember. And to do that is you're just going to click where you want that marker to go. So I have my little line here, and then I'm going to go up to Mark at the top and click Add Marker. And you can see now I got a little purple marker here that's here, and I can click and drag that marker anywhere I want. But I'll leave that there, and then I'm just going to continue working through until I find my where all my spots are that I want to maybe cut my film up, because I'm going to want to break this up. It's an hour long and I want to put on YouTube, so I'm going to break it up into several sections. All right, so I have gone through and started to figure out where I wanted to chunk my video. The one thing to keep in mind is that you're going to have to redo this process for every video you do. So like I can't save, I can't make multiple videos from this one thing. So this is my finished video product that's down here in my timeline. So I'm gonna have to make a new project and import my media each time. So your markers won't transfer through, and you gotta remember when you cut things out, right, those times change. So what I actually do is I go through, if I know I'm gonna break, like this video I'm breaking up into 5 to 4 different pieces, I actually went through and on a post-it note just on my desk, I wrote down those timestamps. So that way when I go back and have to redo this process, right, for each clip, I know exactly what times I need to go in and cut things up. So for this first one, I know I don't want this little intro. It was just kind of me fumbling around and I don't really need that in my finished video. So I have my marker here. I'm gonna go ahead and click so that my little cursor is here. And then I'm gonna go up here to modify. And then I'm going to click split clip, or you can hit Command B, that B as in boy, that is the keyboard shortcut. Now, splitting a clip, I didn't do anything permanent. Nothing happens. All that is like if I have a piece of like old film reel, right, I just cut it. So as long as I don't do anything to those pieces, like my film isn't damaged at all. So what's nice is, right, you're not really damaging anything with split clip. However, I know I don't want this first piece. I want to get rid of it because again, it's not important. I don't need to have it. It's just us kind of me trying to get things going and getting started at the webinar. So I'm actually going to get rid of it. So I'm just going to click on it. So now it's highlighted in yellow. And I'm going to click delete and it's gone. So maybe you did that on accident. You didn't want it back. You can always do undo. Undo is Command Z and it'll come back. So again, if you ever mess up and you need to undo something, Command Z, but I know I don't want that. So now I'm going to go until I find my next marker because that's going to be where I want this clip to end, right? My first chunk of my video. And again, I have it really stretched out right now. If you have all your markers in, then you can actually unstretch it and have it nice and short. So it's really easy to find your markers. So now you can see right, my second marker's here. And your cursor is going to naturally lock on those markers, which is nice. So you don't have to sit there and fine tune it. If you have a marker there, once you click by it, your line will automatically kind of lock into it. So now I have that. I'm going to go up here to modify. I'm going to split that clip again. So now I have the chunk I want to keep, which is this first piece. And this last piece, that's going to be what I turn into my other chunks later on. But for this first video, I don't want them in there. So I'm going to delete that. So now I have my split video. Some other things you can do with iMovie, you can bring in a title card. I like to bring in a title card just so that way I know what it is. So you just click up here to titles. You click which one you like. You can preview them if you click on it. You'll get a little preview of what it looks like over here. I'm going to drag it down. So now I have it here. And then up here I can edit my text. So you just double click and you can start editing. You don't have a lot of control over stuff. You can change like the font, the size, and like the justification and the font color, but that's about all you can really do. You don't get a lot of control. And again, it doesn't have to be super fancy, right? You're just pushing this out for kids, most likely. You're not trying to submit it for an Oscar or anything. Okay, and then when you're done, click out of the box. You want to make sure you click out here. Once you see that everything's updated here, then you can come down. I have learned the hard way that if you don't click out of the box, this won't save. It'll all go back to its old default text. So make sure you click out of the box. And then you can also put something at the end. You could put in another time or another title page. You could put in a background. I usually like for this because it's multiple parts for me. I put in a little ticker at the end. and then I unclick out. And then what's nice is down here, you can see there's little times, right? So my title card, it's gonna be up there for 4 seconds. This ticker says it's gonna be here for 30 seconds. That's a really long time. I don't need a ticker going for 30 seconds. So I can just grab this end and I can drag it and I can make it as long or as short as I want. So I probably want it to be more like 15, 14 seconds. So that's about right. Then if you want to preview your video, you can just bring your cursor there and you can start to see what it looks like. Hopefully you all had a... when you're happy with your film, then you can go ahead and go back to your project page. So I'm going to click projects and then make sure you give your project a title. So and now you can see it's here. And then it's really easy to share out videos from iMovie. So you have a couple options. So you click on your video up here, this is your little share icon. And you click that share icon. If you are going to be posting this on Seesaw or something, you're first gonna have to export it as a file. So it'll download it to your computer and then you can upload to Seesaw or your Google Drive and then share the video through that. If you're going to be using YouTube, what's really nice is you can go straight to YouTube from here. So I can click this YouTube icon, and the first time it's going to ask you to talk, like it's to sync your YouTube account with your iMovie account. But once it's synced, you can see here, right, my account's synced up. You can edit all the basic details of your video here. So here I have the title of the video. I'm happy with that. The description is just a copy of the title, which is weird. So I'm going to change the description. You can put any tags you want here. You can also do that later if you want. That just helps for people if you want people searching for a video. Your resolution, you don't want to get too fancy. It defaults to 720, HD 720, which is totally fine. You don't need 1080p. Category, I usually do education. Here's where you can change your privacy. So again, with YouTube, just a reminder, public means that anyone can search for your video. That means anyone on YouTube, if they search, they could find your video. If you're doing something that is sharing curriculum, or it is sharing, if you are doing a read aloud, you do not want to have it public because that can break copyright laws. So if you were fine with people searching for it, leave it public. If you have something where you want to share the link, so if you give a link, they can see it, but you don't want people to be able to search for it, then do unlisted. If you do not want anyone to be able to see it unless you specifically invite them from YouTube with the email address, then do private. With education, we usually recommend unlisted or public, depending on what you're sharing. I'm doing public just because this is a resource for teachers to learn things. If I were sharing this with my kids, I'd probably do unlisted. Once you're done, you click next, click publish, and then it's going to take a while. So you just don't want to close iMovie, but you can do other stuff while it's working. This little circle here, you can check your status if you click on it. It'll give you an update of what's happening, and this little pie will start to fill up as your progress monitor. So you can see here it's probably going to take about half an hour for that video to publish. So yeah, that's how you use iMovie to chunk out movies and chunk up your films into smaller pieces, and then how you can share it out.